Guys, good morning. Okay. So let me just quickly open that diagram once again. What it is. Where is the diagram? Yeah, this one. All right. So we were having one discussion where, we were been discussing about how the case assignment rule and the lead assignment rule actually works. But this is something called as sales process or a service process. Now understand one thing. The important part of discussion was, let me just try to summarize this. If you wanted to manually transfer the ownership of a record, that could be done for any object. That could be done for any object. You can go with any object and you can transfer the ownership of a record manually, being a system administrator. If you are doing this, you must either be a sysadmin, or you must be the owner of the record. You must be the person. If you are not a system admin, you are having certain other profile, but you are the person who has created the record. Now, because you are the owner, you can transfer the ownership. Anyways, whenever we are transferring the ownership manually, I can do this with any object. There is no restriction into this. Particularly, now let's come to point number 2. When we are transferring ownership, when we wanted to transfer this automatically by certain rules, the first thing is like we have to create something called as assignment rules. So assignment rules are that particular way in the Salesforce by which you can transfer the ownership automatically. Now, whenever we are writing an assignment rule, whenever we wanted to transfer this ownership automatically, it can be transferred, or rather the assignment rule can be written either only for the lead or the case. There is no another object in Salesforce on which you can write down the assignment rules. Assignment rules are always created. There are only 2 types of assignment rules, lead assignment and the case assignment. There are only 2 types of assignment rules, lead assignment rule and the case assignment rule. There are only 2 types of assignment rules, lead assignment rule and case assignment rule. All right. Now, when we are transferring the ownership, point number 4, either manually or automatically. When we are transferring the ownership, either manually or automatically, we can transfer this to a single user. Point number 4. We can transfer the ownership to a single user. Or in some of the cases, we can transfer the ownership to something called as queue. Queue option is not available with every object. User option is available with all of them. User option is available with all of them, but queue option, the option queue, is not available with every object. Rather, it is available with the objects which are called to be the queue supporting objects. There are so many objects of them. There are so many standard objects, and all of the custom objects are the queue supporting object. You will going to find this option only in the queue supporting object. The example was lead and the case. So whenever we are transferring the ownership of a record, either manually or automatically, we could transfer it to a single user as well as to other queues. But queue option is available only with the queue supporting objects. What are queue supporting objects? There are a few standard objects and all of the custom objects, they are called to be the queue supporting objects. Now, what is a queue? Just like your public groups, which is used for the record sharing purpose. Whenever we wanted to share the record automatically, there are 3 different ways of record sharing. Manual sharing, automatic sharing, epic sharing. Whenever we go with the automatic sharing, in the manual sharing as well, if you wanted a record should be get shared to more than one user at a time, multiple users at a time, then we create something called as a public group. So what is a public group and what is a queue? Is there any similarity between them? Yes, of course, there is one. There's one similarity. What is that? Both of them, the public group as well as the queue, both of them are the collection of Salesforce users, are the collection of the Salesforce users. They are the collection of the users, but they are used in two different contexts. What is that? When we talk about public groups, we are actually talking about record sharing. Record sharing. When we talk about queues, we are talking about ownership transfer, transferring of ownership. Because ownership could be transferred to a single user as well as to the queue. All right. So this is what up to this we had a discussion. Up to this yesterday, and there were few more points wherein I have given you one introduction about the omni channels as well. A little bit of this process as well. Let's now configure everything. So for that, I would be going with this use case where configure a queue with the name called Hyderabad sales queue to hold the lead object records. This queue, what I would be creating right now, would hold the lead object records and add development user as the member. See, let me tell you one thing. You would going to feel that for every queue, I would be creating few more queues. I would be creating a few more queues. Every time I would be adding development user only inside the queue. Why I'm going to do this? Because understand one thing. When we talk about, see, manual transfer, we already had understood. We are now importantly starting assignment rules. Assignment rules can be created only on lead and case. There is only two assignment rules: lead assignment rule and case assignment rule. Now, what is going to be a problem in our case would be like we are using developer edition. At the time of creation of the users, although I have created 4 users, customer user, development, manager, testing. These are the users which I have created. But testing user, manager user, and customer user, all of them are having platform licenses, right? Their profile is a custom profile, which I have cloned. I cloned a profile called standard platform profile. There was a standard profile. I cloned that profile and created a custom one called 208 platform user profile. Now these users, all of them, like customer user, I'll make a click. वैसे ये चीजें भूलनी नहीं है हमको, but चलो ठीक है फिर भी. I'm just trying to revise a little bit of this. So these are the users, those who are having platform licenses, right? Who like the users, the the customer and the manager and the testing. All three of them, they are having the same copy of license, and that is platform. Now see, if you remember this or not, in the beginning itself, when we were learning the licenses, I told you one thing. With the platform license, although you could access all of the custom objects, but there are only a few standard objects which is available with the platform license. What are those? Contact, account, document, task, and event. And certainly it's clear now that if somebody who's having a platform license, he cannot access lead, he cannot access case. Because this license only allows you to access account, contact, and a few more objects, but definitely it won't allow you to access lead and case. That means, अभी ध्यान से सुनिए मेरी बात को. All of those users, those who are having this license, कौन है वो? एक है मैनेजर यूजर, दूसरा है आपका कस्टमर यूजर, और तीसरा है आपका टेस्टिंग यूजर। ये वो सारे यूजर्स हैं जिनके पास प्लेटफॉर्म लाइसेंस है। They cannot access lead and case. If you wanted to verify, I can show you that as well. Let me make a login into anyone's account. See, account contact data dikh raha hai. If I would try to bring the objects like lead, can I find lead over here? Can I find case over here? No. So it's clear that these users does not have the access to the lead and the case. So if they are not having the access to lead and case, how come these users could design assignment rules, all right? Because they don't have the access. So there would be one restriction what you guys would feel and why you would feel that pain. So I'm telling you the reason of that. See, every time I would be creating a queue for different examples. Like right now, I'm creating a queue called Hyderabad sales queue. Maybe with the upcoming examples, I would be creating something called as Bangalore sales queue, Chennai sales queue. I would be creating multiple queues. You would going to observe one thing. For every queue, I can only add development user. But in real time, this is not the case at this time. In real time, we are having so many users, those who have the Salesforce license. Your development user, if you go and see, this user is having a Salesforce license. He could access everything. You can see that, right? The development user is having a Salesforce license. This user, development user, he's having a Salesforce license, right? Although we created a custom profile for him because we wanted to control him. That's a different story, but he's having a Salesforce license. Having a Salesforce license means you can access every object, every standard object, every custom object. All right. So there would be one restrictions with us, guys. I'm going to take 2 or 3 examples. I would be creating multiple queues, but for every queue, I can only add development user because this is the only user we are having with us, the one who is having the Salesforce license. Even if I would add, I can add, ऐसा नहीं कि मैं नहीं कर सकता. I can add customer user manager and एक और कौन है, testing. But the issue would be like, even though if you make them a part of this queue, these users does not have the access of lead and case. तो कोई मतलब नहीं है. So this is something, for every example, I need to add only development user. And that is what is the restriction we are having. All right. I hope this is clear to all you. Now, I would be making an Hyderabad sales queue. All right. I would be making. All right. Let me do this. You solve. You go with this. I'll take the bigger one. All right. I'll go with this. Because in this as well, I'll have to create Hyderabad, not just one. I'll have to create all these queue. All right. So I would be showing you this example directly. You go with this. You go with it. This is going to be assignment for you. All right. You solve this. This is a simple one. Nothing else. Now I'm going with this. The second example. Configure a lead assignment rule to assign the lead record to the associated queue based on the below condition. So if somebody would enter a lead in the city, if you go with the lead, while entering the new, you can see that in the address information, there is a field called as city. There's a field called as city. Now, if the value of city is Hyderabad, if, for example, somebody would create a record over here and he mentioned that city is Hyderabad. Now, after saving this, this lead should automatically get assigned to a queue called as Hyderabad sales queue. Understood? And similarly, if somebody would enter a lead record where the city is Bangalore, it should get that after saving that record, once you save this record, this record should get automatically transferred, or should the ownership should automatically be transferred to the Bangalore sales queue. And similarly with like Chennai and the Mumbai as well. All right, now to solve this. First thing, I must have all these queues. If we are talking about transferring the ownership automatically to the queues, we must have that queues. We must have those queues. All right. So I must have like Hyderabad sales queue and the Bangalore and the Mumbai and the Chennai, all that. So this is going to be my first responsibility to create that queue. And that is what it was mentioned in this example. I just jumped one step ahead. This example was about to show you like how you can create the queues. And when you add a user inside that, you will going to see something. All right. So this example was like, you don't skip that. You will going to solve it. All right. And then you'll come to this example. I'm coming directly. Now I'll show you the process of creating all these queue. First of all, let me create all this queue. If I am talking about like, if there would be, if I would be creating a lead, or if maybe someone was creating a lead, and let's say the city is Bangalore or Chennai or Mumbai, this lead is automatically going to be get assigned to these queues. So if we are talking in a way like this, we must have all those queues first of all right? So I would be creating these queues first. Okay, chaliye. Let me show you first thing, what happens when you create a queue and you add a user inside that. I would be creating all these queues, Hyderabad sales queues, Bangalore, Chennai, and Mumbai. And I'll add as a queue member, because queue is what? Queue ultimately is a group of Salesforce users. There's no restriction of having how many users you could add inside a queue. There's literally no restrictions. हमारी case में, for every queue, whether it's a Hyderabad or Bangalore or Mumbai or whatever, I can only add development user. This is with our case only. Why? Because this is the only user. We were having only 2 Salesforce licenses. With the developer edition, what we are using, we were having only 2 Salesforce licenses. One already has been consumed for ourselves. When we create this account by login.developer.salesforce.com, in the early days when we create this account, so out of that 2 license, one was given to us, and we become the system admin of this organization. So only one license was left with us, and that to be, we created a user called development. So this is going to be one of hurdle with us, one restriction, that I could only add development user, all right, for every queue. Otherwise, in real time, this is not the case. So before we go with this, I wanted you to see something. See, I would be going to development user once again. I'll make a login. Let me go to the lead object and see these options. See inside. Let me just take a quick screenshot of this. So you see, we are into the lead. And in the development user, and when you expand this enhanced list view, right? You see all these options are over here. All right. These options. What are the options? All open lead, banking, unread, recently viewed, today's, custom 1, custom 2. These are the options. These are the options inside what? Inside the enhanced list view of the lead tab for user development. All right. Let me make a logout from here. Now, what I wanted to create a queue. See, if you wanted to see the navigation, this everything has been written over here, I think. I don't think so. Somewhere around over here. Yes, see, this is the navigation, right? What are the steps to create a queue is written. So don't worry, notes are good. Well, I'll show you directly. So you go with the manage users, right? You go with the manage users, and there's an option called queues. You can see this option, right? Public groups is over here. Queues also over here. Just below to public group, there is an option called as queues. And all of the queues are going to be listed out over here. We don't have any, but we don't have any one of them right now. I will be creating. So I'm creating this. I'm clicking onto this new button. Now let me enter the names and everything. So like Hyderabad sales group, sales queue. Hyderabad sales queue. Do you want to give any email? In real time, we give, but here I would not give this. Now, this queue you are forming, queue, what is a queue ultimately? What is a queue? Queue is used to hold the records, right? Queues are used to hold the records. What is a queue? Queue are used to hold the record, right? This is a queue. For example, I mean, yesterday I was discussing कि देखो, one case has been generated. One case has been generated. Where is that diagram? अरे कहाँ चला गया यार? हाँ, so one case has been generated. Now this case record automatically get transferred right to a particular queue. So ultimately queue is what? Queue is used to hold a record. Like in this example, it was holding a case record. It could hold a lead record because there are only two forms of assignment rules: lead assignment and case assignment. So queue is what? Queue is a group of is a group of is a group of Salesforce users. On the other hand, queue supports the records because when I'll say that this is record is going to be get transferred to Hyderabad service queue, this means Hyderabad service queue would hold the record. So queue must support certain object, right? You can have only one object or two objects selected. All right. So I would be selecting lead. I would be select. See, I mean, if you go with this list, if you go with this list, yesterday I was telling you one thing. There are the few objects which are called to be queue supporting objects, right? I've given you the list of them. All custom object they support, and there are a few standard object they support the queue, and they are called to be the queue supporting object. If you really wanted to get the list of them, how many objects are called to be a queue supporting object? This is the list of them. This is the list. This is the list of all those objects which are queue supporting objects, all right? Which are like your work. See, I hope there would be hiring manager as well. Hiring manager, all right? So these are like, these are what? These are queue supporting objects. Your all standard objects. Not all custom object like author. And this list of all those standard objects, those who are queue supporting, all of them are listed out. So if you really wanted to get that list, this is the right place. This is the place where you can get the list of all queue supporting objects. But this queue I wanted to design, this queue I wanted to hold just one lead. I can add multiple. We can add multiple objects over here. One queue can hold multiple records. All right, that is also possible. But I just wanted precisely that this queue, which I'm creating Hyderabad sales queue and upcoming queues as well, they should only hold the lead record, right? Now, this is the first thing. Like if you would say ki what is the things which are required while creating a queue. So the first thing is to give the name of the queue. Second is to decide what are the objects the queue is going to be get support. Then queue supporting members. So you can select it from roles, public group. See, we can even add the persons from public group. If you'll see, we have like Hyderabad sales group and all, right? So you can add the users from all these options. I'll go with the user only. And I would be adding development because this is the only user with the Salesforce license. All right. And let me now save this. So I created a queue, Hyderabad sales queue. I have to create multiple queues. Bangalore sales queue. Let me copy this. I would be creating a new queue called Bangalore sales queue. And then again, every time I would add lead and development user. Lead as the queue supporting object, development user as the member of the queue. The next queue what I wanted to create is Chennai sales queue. Yeah, Chennai sales queue. And I wanted to add lead as the queue supporting object and development user as a member of the queue. And now Mumbai sales queue. I'll be creating one more called Mumbai sales queue. I'm adding lead as the supporting object and user development as the member of the queue. Right now, I'm ready with all those four queues. All right, I'm ready with the four queues. So if you have the queue, now let's create the lead assignment rule. All right, चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. So because I'm having all those four queue, I would be creating lead assignment rule. Where to create? Go with setup, build, and customize. Inside the customize, just find for the lead object. This is lead. Expand this. Inside the lead, you're going to see something called as a lead assignment rule, right? This option is available with the lead and case only. Nowhere else you will going to find an option called assignment rule. So there are only two types of assignment rules, lead assignment and the case assignment. Go with this. All right. So there's one active assignment rule, one standard. When I would be creating my assignment rule, this is going to become deactivated and my rule would be activated. So there, here is one question. I would ask you this question and we're going to see the answer later on. How many assignment rules could be active? How many active assignment rules we can have for one object like lead or case? Now the answer is one only. At a time, you can have only one active assignment, although you can create any number of them. You can have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. You can create number of assignment rules, but when we talk about like how many activated assignment rules, we can have only one activated assignment rules. All right, we're just going to see. Let's see. Abhi aap dekh sakte ho ki there is a default assignment rule has been activated. I'm creating the new. As soon as I'll make this active, this is going to become deactive. और let's consider कि यहाँ पे ऐसे 5 rules थे. ये वाला active है. I'm creating my 6th one. I'll make this active. When I'll make this active, तो ये भी deactivate, ये सारे deactivated रहेंगे. So in real time, we can have only one activated assignment rule. This is the answer. You are going to witness this. I'm giving the name as lead record to associated queue. And I'm making this active. See, there is one information over here. Activating this rule will deactivate the current lead assignment rule. That means if you have a previously activated one, the one which you are now activating would deactivate any other. All right. So you can have multiple rules. You can create them. But when we talk about like activating, we can only have one activated assignment rule for lead and for the cases. All right. Let me make it active and let me save it. Now, see this is deactivated and this has been become active. All right. Chalo, ab isko open karo aur isko edit karo. So this is a two-step process. In step number 1, you just would have required to create a new one. Give the name and save it and make it active. So this is step number 1. Now the step number 2 is to edit that and in entry, I mean the rule entries, whatever you would require. Okay, just enter that. So in the rule entries section, I'll going with new. Here I am going to impose my criteria. Here I would be imposing my criteria. Okay. So sorting order, you can give 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing, no problem, but it is required. So the criteria or formula, what you want, I wanted to evaluate a criteria. What is that criteria? See, we already have it. Okay. If the city of lead is Hyderabad, if the city of the lead is Bangalore, or maybe it's Chennai, or maybe it's Mumbai, accordingly, this should assign to these queues. All right. So I would be checking for the same one. So if the city of the lead, see, is equals to Hyderabad, right? If equals to Hyderabad, otherwise I'll have to copy this from here. Is equals to Hyderabad. In that case, the lead record which is getting created should be assigned to the user. No, I wanted this to get assigned to a queue. Which queue? You can select the user from here, but this is not the case. What is our case? कि अगर ये city equals to Hyderabad should assign to the Hyderabad sales queue. So this should get assigned to the queue. Which queue? Hyderabad sales queue. All right. I mean, after this has been assigned, do you want it to fire an email that this lead has automatically been transferred to this? If you wanted this to get happen, all right, you can go with an email template. All right. So this is a provision you can have. Now let me save this. All right. So this was my rule number 1. Rule number 1. I have 4 rules to be get evaluated. The next is about Bangalore. So I'll go with new. This is going to be my point number 2. If the city of the lead is equals to what? The Bangalore. All right. So if this condition would satisfy, I wanted this to be get assigned automatically to a queue. Which queue? Bangalore sales queue. All right, save it. That was rule number 2. Now, rule number 3. Rule number 3. If the city equals to Chennai, if the city equals Chennai, okay. I wanted this rule, this lead to be get assigned automatically to the Chennai sales queue, right? Save it. Now, number 4, I have one more condition. I have one more condition. What is that? Mumbai. So if the city of the lead, if the city of the lead record, which is getting created, is equals to the Mumbai, this lead, after saving this lead, this should be get assigned to Mumbai sales queue automatically. And let's save this. Now, this is the rule what you have created. This is the rule what you have created. All right. And this is in the active state. This is in the active state. All right. Let's now test it. Let's now test it. I'll go with the lead object. I'll just refresh this once again. I'm going with the lead tab and I'll be creating a new lead record, right? I would be creating a new lead record. First of all, I'll go with a negative testing. For example, let me go with like assignment rule, test number 1. Assignment rule, test record number 1. With the CT, I'm not making this. I'm making this as Nagpur, right? I'm making this as a Nagpur. And I would be saving this. I would be saving this. So what would happen? Okay, the assignment rule, according to assignment rule, what you have created, if the city is Hyderabad or Bangalore or Chennai, it would get assigned to any one of this queue. But because in our case, the city was Nagpur, so this has not been assigned to any queue. Rather, who is the owner? The user which has created. Who created? Training batch user. And so you can see who is the owner of this. Training batch 208 is the owner. Okay. If you now wanted to change it, you can do this manually. Manual is available, all right? But by default, this does not happen because it doesn't satisfy the conditions. We design the conditions for Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, and Mumbai. Here, the city is something different, right? That is the reason the lead has not been assigned to anyone automatically. Now, let's go with the positive testing. I'm creating the second record. Assignment rule, record number 2. All right. Where the city is, let me consider this as Hyderabad. Where the city is Hyderabad. Where the city is Hyderabad. Now, what should happen in this case, ideally? I'm creating a lead where the city is Hyderabad. I'm creating a lead where the city is Hyderabad. So according to this activated assignment rule, this one is an activated assignment rule. The lead record after saving, what should you see? You should see that this lead record, the ownership would be like, it would be like to Hyderabad sales queue. The ownership would be like to the Hyderabad sales queue. But this is not going to be happen. Although it satisfies the condition, the city what I have mentioned over here is Hyderabad. It satisfied the condition, but still this is not going to be happen. Let me show you. After saving this record, who is the owner? Still training batch is the owner. How come this is possible? I have a assignment rule, activated assignment rule. And this record satisfies the condition, still it has not been assigned to the Hyderabad sales queue. How come this is possible? So this is happening. I'll show you why it is happening. Let me create a new lead record. Assignment rule, test number 4. And I'm making the city as Hyderabad. Once again, when you scroll it down in the optional section, there's a checkbox. Assign using active assignment rule. If you won't select this, as right now in a default case, it is unchecked. If you won't select this, assignment rules would not going to work, like what happens in the previous case. So if you wanted your assignment rules, should get worked, you must select this. And this is See, for the case as well. This checkbox is available in the case because there are only two types of assignment rule, lead and the case. This is available with the lead and case for both of them, right? All right. So this is for the assignment rule. This checkbox is for the assignment rule. There are only two types of assignment rule, lead and case. Lead and case. Yeah, lead and case. All right. So now, after clicking this, and city is Hyderabad, and I'll be saving. See what is going to be happen. See. Who becomes the owner? Hyderabad sales queue becomes the owner. Who becomes the owner? Hyderabad sales queue become the owner. Matlab this record, and see, you will going to test it for rest other cases, right? I tested it for the Hyderabad. I don't have much time. You will going to test it for rest other cases. Create the lead record where the city would Bangalore, Chennai, and Mumbai. And please don't forget to click. Please don't forget to click. Assign using active assignment rule. If you would be forgetting this, assignment rule will not going to work. All right. So unless you make a click, unless you make this checkbox checked, your assignment rule would not going to be worked. All right. So please don't forget this. Check with all this. I'm taking the discussion beyond this. All right. So what happens? First thing, this is now being assigned to Hyderabad sales queue. All right. Who is the member? Every member of Hyderabad sales queue now have this. All right. Or they have this record. I'll show you. What is this record? Assignment rule test number 4. So who is the member? We have only one member, no, development user, right? So I'll go with development user. I'll go with development user. Let me make a login into his, right? Let me make a login. When I go with lead, the first difference what you are going to see, is this. See, I have it. Yes, I have it. See the difference. See the difference. Previously, there was only few options. Now you have Bangalore sales queue, Chennai sales queue, Hyderabad sales queue, Mumbai. These options are added automatically. How come these options added? Because you created those queues, system administrator, and have added this user as a member of the queue. So now this user, development, who's the member, and all of the users who are the member of this queue, they would go to their lead. For example, we created this for lead. For the case as well, we can do the same thing. They would see this option. Now, because you see one thing, which record I have created, that is there. See, if I would go like Chennai sales queue, is there any record? No, because nothing has been given. If I'll go with the Mumbai sales queue, is there any record? No. If I'll go with, like, for example, Bangalore sales queue, there is any record? No. But if I go with Hyderabad sales queue, I can see there is one record waiting inside queue. There's one record waiting inside queue. Right now, if I would open this, who is the owner of this record? See, training batch change the lead owner using assignment rule. The ownership was being transferred from training user to the Hyderabad sales queue. So right now, who is the owner of this record? Hyderabad sales queue. This record, assignment rule number 4, is actually waiting inside this queue till the time any one of would accept. So see, now once again, see, who is the owner? Hyderabad sales queue is the owner. This is waiting. I'll click this, or maybe this user, development user. जैसे हमने कल एग्जांपल लिया था आकाश का, आकाश फ्री हुआ, right? This user has checked and accepted. Now because he accepted, ये हैदराबाद sales queue से हट चुका है. हैदराबाद sales queue से हट चुका है. If I go with all open lead here, you are going to find that assignment rule. See, यहाँ पर है. And now if you would open this, I'll just make a refresh. यहाँ पर ही समझ जाएगा आपको. So user development has accepted this lead. भाई this record was being created by this user. वहां से इसकी ओनरशिप मिली हैदराबाद को. कैसे मिली? यूजिंग असाइनमेंट रूल. सब कुछ लिख के आ रहा है. And previously, Hyderabad sales queue was the owner. Now, development user is the owner of this record. So this is what the transfer of ownership automatically by using assignment rules. By using the assignment. Now he's the owner of this record. Which development user? So this is what is actually assignment rule. Now you replicate the same example for the Bangalore and Chennai and all that. Okay? Go with this. Go with this by today. And this is one more assignment for you. This is one more. This is on the case. You will have to solve this. Tomorrow, I would be taking web to lead. Tomorrow I would be taking web to lead. That's all for today. And I cannot take any questions right now because I have a subsequent batch. Thank you so much for joining.